No, the thumbnail and the title isn't clickbait, it isn't BS. This PC case actually has two big kidney grills on the front that look just like a BMW 4 Series, the new one that's a bit ugly. But this case isn't actually ugly because unlike on a car, having kidney grills that go from the top to bottom actually look good. So, and coincidentally, Bequiet's from Germany, so inspiration taken? Probably not. But anyway, this is a pretty interesting case and you should probably watch the rest of this review.
This is the Purebase 500DX, and it enters a very saturated market, one full of established, well-designed competitors. High airflow mesh mid-tower that is practical, simple, and makes sense. Where have I seen that before? Well, the Corsair 4000D, the 275R, the Fractal Design Meshify C, and the NZXT H500 Mesh, just to name a few. So to properly stand out and justify the fact that it cost, well, $30 more than the 4000D from Corsair, the Bequiet has to be good.
To compete in this field, it needs to have a lot of things going for it, right? And one of those things is definitely the design. Unlike other cases in its field from its biggest competitors in NZXT, Fentex, Fractal Design, and maybe Corsair, this case is rather maximalist with its design rather than minimalist. Unlike the NZXT H500 Mesh and the Fractal Design Meshify C, this case has plenty of details to it. The Meshify C and the NZXT feel rather uninspired, the lines are flat and straight, and sure, the Meshify C has that weird kind of textured front, but that's just excessive detail that doesn't really look all too fancy. Like I can get that with the TechWare Forge M, and that's a much better budget case, honestly. This, however, is full of detail, full of little things here and there that made me go, wow, that actually looks really, really nice. It's very intricate, but it's done pretty tastefully. One, it sweeps back. Like a PC case looks like it's moving forward because it looks like an arrow, which reminds me almost of a car. The car analogy continues, yes. It's got two LED strips on the front that go down the middle, which is unorthodox, looks unique, and is rather special. It's also RGB, so if you want that, there's that. It has the two kidney grills, as I've said before, that go down from top to bottom. This is not a very common design thing on pretty much any PC case, and to me, I think this looks excellent and it looks unique, and I love how it's kind of tapered back. The Bequiet logo is slightly angled. Things like that all stand out to me as a case that has a lot more design flair to it than something that's a bit dull and a bit bland from NZXT. I used to have a H510i for the longest period of time, and yes, that case was a breeze to use. It was very nice, but it was kind of boring and a bit flat. So I didn't exactly enjoy it, but for some reason everyone seems to have one, which is like even bigger of a negative. Like I want my PC case to look good. And the attention to detail and the little things here and there continues. Removing the top fan filter, which is magnetic, which is also very nice and stylized, you realize the vents up top are triangles, like you're driving an RX-8 and everything's about the Wankel engine, but there isn't a Wankel engine in here. It just looks pretty interesting. I do like that. That is very, very nice, and all around there are little things that it's done a little bit different and it's a little bit of detail, but it all adds up to this very enjoyable to look at PC case. It's not gorgeous, it's not stunning like a Lian Li that's custom handmade, but for a mid-range case it looks excellent. It looks nice, and that's a good thing, and it's not boring to look at. Unlike those clean Scandinavian design PC cases, which at this point I just feel is an excuse to make cases that look the same year on year, like the Fractal Defiant R series, which hasn't changed at all. And in terms of build quality, it's pretty good as well. We've got pretty solid metal all around, as well as tempered glass, which definitely helps create a more premium feel with this case. And the only plastic bits of this case, well, are the LED strips, the power switch, and the front panel. Only concern though is that the transition of kind of the finish between plastic and metal is a bit noticeable. So you can kind of see in certain lighting situations that, yeah, this part is plastic, this part is metal. Not the biggest deal, but some people might care. Apart from that, build quality is excellent all around. The materials used are solid, the panel gaps are pretty well aligned, and all around, pretty decent.
So then, the Bequiet case is a looker, but that doesn't mean it isn't practical. You've got 3 Pure Wings fans that are 140mm each that come in the box, an excellent bonus. You've got fan filters where you need them, magnetic up top and easily accessible rail mounted one down low. You've got wonderful I/O with USB 3.0 and USB 3.1 on the front, which is an excellent feature. A power supply shroud that is spacious and easy to work with and hide all the cables. You can mount 4 2.5-inch drives as well as 2 3.5-inch hard drives. The hard drives goes in a power supply shroud and the SSDs go in, well, the top 2 behind the motherboard tray and 2 so that you can proudly display it. The standoffs are pre-installed, easy to deal with in a standard layout. Everything is where you expect it to be, and that is practical and excellent. So then all these features are really nice, but Bequiet's own Darkbase Pro 900 is really feature packed, but a nightmare to build in. So how's the build experience like?
The importance of the ease of building in a PC case, it really depends on who you are. If you are Linus Tech Tips, it doesn't matter because you've built so many PCs, it's not difficult. If you're me, it matters a little bit because yeah, I'm pretty experienced, so it's not too much of an issue. If you are someone who is a beginner though, the ease of building, well, it's obviously very essential. To describe the difficulty of building a PC in this PC case, well, it's about as easy as washing your face, or putting on a pair of socks, or sipping a cup of water. It really isn't difficult. It's as easy as a cup of tea. And it's down to 2 things. It's down to 2 words, 2 keywords: industry standard. Everything in this case makes sense because it's where it's supposed to be. Motherboard tray in the middle, motherboard goes there with pre-installed standoffs, GPU goes down over here. You got fans where they're supposed to be. You've got 2 SSD mounts over here, 2 SSD mounts behind the motherboard tray, 2 hard drive mounts in the power supply shroud. Power supply goes in the back. Everything is where it's supposed to be and all is good in this board. It's industry standard, it makes sense, it's easy to build in, and every mid-tower case should have this. No complications like on the Darkbase Pro 900 that I recently built a PC in, which is also from Bequiet. Why couldn't they just put this layout in that case? But that's a topic for another day. This case is very easy to build in. It was uncannily similar to my NZXT H510, which tells you a little bit about what industry standard means.
So to wrap it up then, the 500DX cost about 30 Singapore dollars more than its competitors, the Corsair 4000D, the Meshify C, these cases. Now that's not necessarily the worst and biggest delta in price, but it is something to consider. But what you do get with this case is a really nice design. RGB on the front, excellent front I/O, good build quality, and well, 340mm fans that, well, are PureWings fans. Really good quality fans. It's easy to build in, simple, and I personally think it looks the best out of the bunch. Look closely by the Corsair 4000D. It's an excellent choice, but then the question becomes, is it the right choice for you?
So the Bequiet Purebase 500DX. It is a bit expensive, coming in at about 165 Singapore dollars. If you can afford it, if it is part of your budget, and you're looking for a mid-tower case that actually looks interesting for once, it's a pretty good choice.